This guitar had all kinds of battle damage. But still, I'll make it even anyways. Okay. Get wet. Like that. That's mirror finish. Especially when it comes to the block, you know it's this, the spacer, and then down just to make wet sand them easier. So just on the drips, a wool pad for this first stage. The second stage, I'm using like mainly to connect, some wires. Just only a couple wires. Well, welcome to the final video on this Ibanez RG rebuild. Oh, I'm so glad to actually get this thing over with. It's been a fun process doing it. We got one more part to put on though. We have here, it's like a tremolo stabilizer from Floyd Rose. Basically it sits right in here. That's why I don't have a spring on that one. Basically, like I believe I mentioned it in the first video, is like I typically for floating bridges I like to have all 5 springs. That's just me because I like the stiff tension in it. But to have this, you're gonna have to take away a spring in the middle. But this basically works as my 5th spring. So what we gotta do is, it's actually kind of pretty simple. So what this thing really is it's basically, okay, best way I can kind of describe it is it's got like a little ball end right here, like a ballpoint pen. You place it in here, you put it right on the edge of the block. By the way, I already have the guitar already all set exactly. It's all set up. The intonation, the floating bridge levels. I mean, like everything. It's all perfect. So the reason why that is because I need to make sure this block is exactly where it needs to be. So basically, I'm gonna set this right where the tip of it meets the block. So whenever I do if you do a dive on it, it's not going to touch us at all. The block will pull away, but it won't actually go forward. Well, you can actually set this so you can go forward. Well, actually more like you can't. You could almost use this as like a way to lock this in place too, just tying the out of this. But basically the point of this thing is to help keep it in tune when you're doing dives and pulls. Because that's basically what it is. It's a stabilizer. So we gotta get set up on putting this in. This is gonna be a little tricky because most of these floating bridges, they have 3 springs, and it's kind of easier to set it up with just 3 than 4. So I'm gonna have to literally do one side at a time, and as far as putting the screws in and then pull the other spring to the side. I don't have to actually pull the springs out. All I got to do is just kind of keep it in place. With this thing, it comes with like these little 3M pads. It's basically, it goes right where the ball touches the thing. So what we got to do first is get this thing in here, kind of line it up exactly where it needs to go. I'm trying to do it dead center. I have my trusty drill bit here. This is going to be a tricky part, trying to do this one-handed and yet, pulling a spring to the side without moving it. Ah, you bastard. I knew this was gonna be tricky. Actually, let me just get this right where it needs to be. I get one shot at it, so I'm kind of happy. Okay, all I did was just put basically a mark with the drill bit. And then I'll just go and do the rest without this in here. I'm going to do this like literally one screw at a time. I just need to get it, you know, kind of in place and stable. Comes with these really little tiny screws. So now, put this back in the right way. Had it backwards like a jack.
Dingledorps.
This is going to be tricky only because there's like no room. The screw is really tiny. I believe that's right where it's at. Okay. All right. Got that one screw in, but it's loose. Now, this one in. Alright, second screw. Ah, lost the screw in the cavity. That sucks. Let's just get this one in here and I'll just flip the guitar out and pull it out. Looks like you need a microscopic hand to do this. Where that is, Google? There you are. Yeah, there you little bastard. I know. If this don't work, then I gotta use a magnet. Which I may have to use a magnet of some sort. There you go. Trick, magnetize a piece of metal and then that'll work. Ah, I just lost it again. Sort of works. Okay. Now, this set, well, a set of two. Just hope I don't lose this one in the process. Okay. All right. Final screw hole. Tricky. Oh, missed it. There. I'm gonna have to do the magnet trick again. Yep, magnet trick again. So keep that nearby. I have a feeling that's going to happen again. There we go. All right. Now just tighten it all down. Yay. Okay. The last thing to do is put a little protective pad on it. Whoa! That was not supposed to happen. Sorry about that. Ah, you mother. I'll have to move you for a sec. Well, but yeah, I'm gonna fight to get that one. All you gotta do is just take this little stupid pad and just put it right where it touches the block, and then it's done. So now the only thing left to really do is put on the back cover plate and clean it up and do the unveil. So, see how this fits. It's been a long time since I delivered a baby. All right, actually still fits. A little tight, tighter than what I remember. Oh God, that's what she said. So, back in. Screwdriver. Get up to that. Got one right here. Yes, very special on watching me put in 6 little screws. But you know what, it's the finishing touches. Well, after I wipe it all off and clean off any fingerprints, and then I'm just gonna have to unveil it. Probably gonna have to do some serious string stretching and that kind of crap though. These are new springs on here. Haven't really got to thoroughly stretch them in. But of course I had to monkey with it quite a few times just to actually get the floating bridge stable as possible, even before the add in this stabilizer. Adjusting these floating bridges, not that easy. But there it is. That's the last part that goes on. And time to clean up the fingerprints off this thing and just make it nice. And then we do the unveil. Well, the guitar is now finished. Thank God. And honestly, I really enjoy it for this nearly 25-year-old guitar. The reason why it's back here on the bench is do give it its official weigh-in. So, carefully set here. zeroed out. Let's go find out. What do we have here? 8.63 pounds. This is a heavyweight. What a heavy motherfucker. So the only thing left to do is, well, we got to plug it in. Let's do it. Time to unveil the Ibanez RG rebuild complete. Recapping from like the first video, the origins of this guitar. Bought a Guitar Center off the wall, $300 back in 1998. Probably about like 7 years later, roughly, the original neck broke at the headstock. Got this one off of eBay, just because I wanted to have an all maple neck, and the original body was all black with Ibanez humbucker pickups with this Ibanez low res Trem 2 bridge. Also, like a few years when I purchased it, the nut that holds the whammy bar right here, it broke. And of course, I played this guitar for many years, and it's actually had its abuse. As described, I had many chips in the original finish. And of course, that was after a while of it being sitting for a while and looking like and never got a chance to fully upgrade it like I always wanted to. I've had changed the pickups a few times, but never to the exact ones that I wanted. But now I finally actually did it, and reason to do this whole guitar from ground up, basically. Sorry I couldn't show you what it originally looked like. Just well, if you want to see what it originally looked like, that's what it originally used to look like. But as far as everything else, it's got a whole new life to it, and honestly, I'm actually very proud of it. Now also, like I did mention a couple of videos ago about, it was actually the video on redoing the bridge here. Here's a little thing I did not know until this build, and with the issues I had with this, and especially, why am I trying to pound in the string blocks? It should just sit right in. These are so old. This one, basically the one that, not this exact one, one of them was so corroded on the inside, the block was just really hard to get it in there, and I tried forcing it in. Unbeknownst to me, which is also kind of like the reason why these licensed Floyd Rose are not that great on the metal. Well, let me explain why they're not great on the metal. Well, I can't really compare it to like an actual Floyd Rose or Schaller, the Germany made ones, because those, they say that the metal work on those is far superior. But without one for me to actually compare it to and to destroy to actually see, is I can tell you for sure, definitely on the string saddles, they're made out of cast, I won't say cast iron, but cast steel. What that is basically molten steel poured into a mold and then cooled, and there you go. With anything cast, there's all kinds of air pockets in it, and then with all these little air pockets, in other words, if you ever seen a piece of metal just break instead of bend, that's a cast piece. The reason why it just broke instead of bent, because it's hollow. There's air pockets in it. So every air pocket is a weak point. And unbeknownst to me, like I said, trying to pound in a string block, I did not know that I actually cracked it. And when I actually cracked it, after putting the strings on and actually starting to do the whole setup, you know, tying it down, and poof, it just broke into two pieces. So there was no fixing that. There was absolutely no fixing that. Hard searching, but I did find a replacement for one of these. For these low-res Trem 2, these string saddles are kind of hard to find. I only had one place to get it from, and I forgot where online that just happened to have one. One place said they had it, but it was out of stock, and it was through Reverb through another music shop. Don't you hate it when you go online and online shopping and they say they have it just to tell you we don't have it? Figure it out, guys. Come on. Another place I saw, don't ship to the United States. I didn't know that it was coming. It would have been from Australia. Bummer. But I did happen to find one, and like I said, I forgot where. And learning about the description on it, which I did not know, and hopefully, well, actually, maybe you'll know now because I'm going to tell you, because I honestly seen any other information on learning these types of bridges and setups. No one has ever mentioned that each saddle is particular, specialized per string. Well, actually, there are two matching saddles total, so there's 3 sets. The reason why that is your neck, if you were to look up this way, it's got a curve. Your strings need to follow that curve. So the ends here are supposed to be lower, and then it gets taller and taller. So these two could interchange with each other, the high and low E's, and the A's and the B's can interchange, and the D's and the G's. And when I put this back together, if you've seen in the video, I had these things all over the place, because honestly, you go to look at them, you really can't tell the difference by eye. It's really hard to. So you will think, hey, they're all the same. It's all really about the intonation going forward and back, but it's not. These things actually have some height to it to follow the contour of the neck. And what kind of threw me on that is, actually, when I was setting up before the one broke, I noticed my high E was like really high. Like, you can just look, it was almost parallel, but except that string was like really high up, and I'm like, what the hell, why is that? And then of course the one broke, and I'm looking through descriptions like, hey, this saddle is for the E strings, this saddle is for the A's and B's, and this one's for the D's and G's. And it's like, okay, before that made me question, also with the string being higher than the others, did I put these in the right orientation? So I had to take them all apart, and really I kind of looked at the old wear on it, but also what kind of helped on which one it was is by looking at the indentation, the old wear markings from where the indentation was, because obviously the two far back ones is going to be the E string and the G string, and and so on. So that kind of narrowed it down. As soon as I was able to figure it out, then I realized the one that I broke, which originally was in the E position, should have been in the G position. So this one here is brand new. So let that be a lesson if you're going to disassemble one of these, especially if you're going to change the block, which obviously we also found out too, not only after we weighed, the block made this guitar heavy, because believe me, I don't remember this guitar being this heavy. Is not really on tone that to say the big blast box improved, but it definitely did sustain. I'll demonstrate that in a little bit. So let that also be a lesson. If you're ever taking these off, put them back in the right position. Remember which strings that they went to. Note it down or something. Don't go through that mess that I did, because these videos of me making mistakes is so that you guys don't have to. Another great improvement also on the bridge was changing the trem bar to a shallower system, and obviously you can tell why. Look, wherever I put it, it's going to stay. It's not going to do whatever and then just go like a limp. So I would recommend, if you want your trem bar to stay where you want it, or you want to leave it, upgrade it to a shallower trem bar. course, we have our EMG 81s and 85s. The Zach Wild set. You don't really have to get the Zach Wild set, but you know, it comes with all the wiring. It's an 81, 85, basically. So it's not about the name on it, really. It's just about the type of pickups it is. And no, I prefer the EMGs just because of the signal clarity. It really brings out the harmonics. You don't really have grounding issues. Since I play a lot of metal and stuff, it's not really about the tone, because once you got a high gain, almost every pickup sounds great, but you definitely don't want that extra noise where you got to throw in a gate and really overdo it. Let me see, what else can I say about this thing after that it's complete, other than it looks beautiful. It's got some extra weight to it. Oh yeah, since we're on the back right here, you can take a look of the battery box design. What I like to do for my guitars is, let me do that. The 9 volts I get are lithium ions rechargeable, so they just fit right here, and you just plug in a USB-C cable right there, good to go. Plug it back in. Simple and easy. Never even have to take the battery out, and just plug it in right there and it'll charge right up. And those lithium ions last forever. So I guess we can demo this big out. Just so you know what I'm running through. I'm running through 2 speaker cabs, my 412, which are Celestion G42s, I think they are. And my top cab, which is just 2 Celestion Vintage 30s. I'm running through a Crate GOX 1200H. It's a valve state, but I basically use it as a power amp. My main main sound is basically amp modeling through a Headrush pedal board. So that's pretty much what I go through. Don't really need to spend a buttload on a tube amp, just when I can make any tube amp I want right here. It sounds good just because of the speakers. So, a couple little demos of a clean tone, which I have a little reverb going through, and an EQ pedal through like a Fender amp head. Bridge position with some clean tones. Middle position. Neck position. Let's go back to neck and let's add some heavy gain, high gain. Let's go to the neck. Alright, now let's try, see how stable the whole tremolo system is. We are in tune. So, let's go ahead and dive it. Alright, now let's up the tremolo system. Well, it's done. So with that, we conclude this series on the Ibanez RG rebuild. And with that, gotta say goodbye, happy motherfucker.
Great grumpy grapes!